Hi, I'm Kawa, and this is QWA Podcast. In this show, we invite friends from the architectural fraternity for a casual conversation. From design think tank to integrated practice, we discuss the trials and tribulations of architectural pursuit. We hope this informal sharing will spark conversation among the listeners. Let's begin. Hello and welcome everyone. Today we have architect Ridha Razak. A brief introduction. He is a PAM past council member, chairman of ACYA, ACASIA Committee of Young Architects. And in ACYA, we have 21 member countries. It is a coalition of architects working towards cross-border knowledge exchange, leadership development, and I think Reda also run multiple businesses that some of them go beyond architectural practice. And today we're going to talk about some of his tremendous work that he has done and some of his contribution to young architect capacity that, not only local but also abroad. Reda, how are you doing today?
Hi, Khorizmi.
Hello.
Thank you for inviting me for today. Quite excited about this. Yeah.
You look slightly different today. What happened to you?
Yeah. Throughout the MCO ni, quite a lot of revival, Khorizmi.
Right.
From, the challenges of the pandemic, staying at home.
Yeah.
But myself, from, during pandemic, eating a lot and now trying to lose weight in the next MCO. So
Yeah.
now, good lah. A lot of achievement have been done.
Yeah, you see, you seems you have a tremendous progress. I can see that, and maybe we can begin with your effort to revive a heritage building in KL downtown, which is used to be a mansion, and then it's been transformed into PAM building or PAM headquarters, and eventually it is now rebranded as Rumah Tangsi. So some of the works that I've seen, got been applied to the venue was some advertisement, hip hop concert, photo shoot, music video, art show, even a market. And how do you manage to generate such interest? I mean, a lot of these events are youth oriented. So how do you get those youth event into a heritage building?
We myself having managing a few operations companies that is actually looking into community engagement. So we put a lot of effort in terms of trying to bring the interest to the heritage building lah. But for Rumah Tangsi is quite special because it is full of a lot of heritage values and characteristic. So it's not that difficult for us to actually bring the engagement. But in terms of what it is, Rumah Tangsi is actually owned by DBKL and it's and also given to their persatuan, which is Ikatan, and then it's given to my company, which is managing and taking care of the building lah. Yeah. So when we took over the building, we had a lot of experience in terms of doing community engagement in the digital media, and also helping the local authorities to set up the community engagement master plan and also policies.
I think it's an excellent initiative, and I think it's also in line with some of the architectural knowledge that we have. We should try to deploy them in multiple scenario or businesses. And I think during this pandemic is utmost relevant because we can see young architects with their young practice can no longer just survive based on offering basic services. So do you have any pointers? How does a practice diversify to improve their cash flow, considering project nowadays is fairly inconsistent with payment being very irregular due to the fact that we have MCO, PKP that prolong submissions and things like that.
So for myself lah, fortunately I was born into an architect's family, so I was exposed for architecture quite young lah.
Yep.
But for me, during my university school days and university days, I was very active in many things, music, drama, a lot of things like doing little small SME business. selling things for my friends, and then in university engage in a lot of other activities, extracurricular.
Right.
This actually have helped me in terms of bringing, molding me in terms of having the mentality of an open mind towards the world. Yeah. So come to when we start learning architecture, our world create is focused into a cocoon, architecture and how to do the architecture that brings about towards when you go out there and you practice. So what my advice to the young architects out there is that never limit yourself. Architecture is actually a tool. The things that you learn in university, the things that you practice in your practice architecture in the office, is always a tool of advantage to you to actually create bigger things. Like myself, I found that from my experience from high school and university doing events, and my skills in architecture in terms of doing drawings, planning, and then looking into detailing, I put it into multiple forms of expressions. And at the same time, I put it into a form that I can transmit and engage more to the public. When you do that, you can find more opportunities. Well, take
Great.
for example, myself doing architecture for 10 years.
Mhm.
At the same time, I was starting up to learn capacity building for myself in terms of increasing my capacity in delivery, speech delivery, and presentation. At
Yeah.
the same time, I go to short courses learning about legal and also learning about sustainable developments, green building, everything. So all these skills, as you acquire knowledge from young about after you graduate until up to 30s, this will somehow infuse in you and to create an innovative idea of creating new things. So hence that's why Khwarizmi, now I'm running multiple event space, heritage placemaking and community hubs. So that requires a lot of ideas and of course collaborations with other disciplinaries.
Yeah.
So when you have an open mind, you are open to collaborate with other disciplinaries, and therefore you actually the crave is actually not just to do things. The craving is actually to create new innovation
Mhm.
through identification of demands from the outside world.
Yeah.
So when you find demands, you can always supply.
Mm.
So so this is a lesson that all young architects need to learn. Always focus on you have a product,
Mhm.
but you also understand the demand, and then you deliver your product and supply it to the right channels and the right product to the right people.
Yeah. Maybe talking about young architects, I think in the last PAM EGM, you have mentioned that they have registered themselves with the board, which is Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia, but did not participate or become a PAM member. Why do you think young architects feel there is no need to be part of the institution, but only registered with the board?
I think this one, Khwarizmi, is a matter of choice, right?
Yeah.
So for myself, lah, I value a lot of learning from the seniors, the wisdom.
Yeah. Mhm.
So it's good that when you work in a architectural practice, you learn from your bosses in
Mhm.
terms of the business. But something you cannot learn in the office is actually communication skills
Right.
in the community.
Agree. Mhm.
So when you join the apa ni, associations, right?
Mhm.
This is something that you can learn because some of us we work in small companies and
Yeah.
the 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 hierarchy or the policy of the company is quite relaxed. But when
Mhm.
you join the association, you can actually learn a lot from the seniors in terms of wisdom and also the procedures. So
Mhm.
these are actually good in your self development,
Yeah.
and also it trains you to be more disciplined and respect people's time and also opinion, right?
Mhm.
So this is something why I think that a lot of young architects don't really want to join but register is because I think it's a matter of priority lah.
Right.
Some focus on business,
Mhm.
some like to be around people.
Yeah.
So different people, different ways. But
Yeah.
if you ask me, from my experience lah of being with the association,
Mm-hmm.
I think that over the 10 years I involved in PAM and
Mm-hmm.
all the other institute, I've learned a lot from a lot of the mentors lah.
Right.
So that actually helped in terms of changing the mindset and my thinking cap or being open
Yeah.
to whatever situations. Yeah.
From that involvement in PAM, you have been springboarded to become ACYA member or representative for Malaysia and eventually been voted as ACYA chairman. So you can see that you have, this management skill coordinating multiple countries, and across this establishment, I think ACYA have, achieved a huge stride across the year, especially when we have our session Stormathon 2.0 in Kuala Lumpur. And before I know that your chairmanship period has been prolonged due to the COVID-19. But before you pass over the baton to Architect Bisma from Pakistan, what are some of the lying, direction for young architect in Asia that you can promote or propagate before your term end?
So I'll talk about a little bit about the history of ACYA. Yeah?
Mhm.
So ARCASIA has been established quite long, almost more than 50 years.
Mhm.
I think this year is 51 years. So throughout the creation of ARCASIA, a lot of things has been focused on at the Asia level, especially on practice, education, and then CSR, and also green
Yep.
sustainability. But recently, the last 6 years, ARCASIA has set up the Young Architects platform
Mhm.
called ACYA
Mhm.
to actually instill, to prepare the young architects to become the leaders of the young architects in ARCASIA in the future. So I've been fortunate to be involved in ARCASIA since 2017, taking the baton as the chairman of ACYA. That time, only 2 years of setting up for ACYA in terms of its basic planning led by AR Fawad from Pakistan.
Mhm.
And they were, at that time, we were still soul searching in terms of what to do and bringing things together.
Yep.
Then come the next chairman, which is AR Han.
Mhm.
That was actually the starting point to draft the master plan. When it comes to my chairmanship, 2019,
Mhm.
uh, that time, throughout my involvement, all the plans was ready, and it was time for us to actually leap forward towards execution.
Yeah.
Hence, what you see now is actually a lot of work that has been done since 2015.
Mhm.
That is created and planned from one chairman to one chairman until myself lah.
Okay.
So in terms of direction during my chairmanship, we have done a lot of engagement with the young architects in the committee and also in Asia. So a lot of focus looking into how young architects can be leaders in their institute, in their country, and also in the world. And then also looking into how does a young architects look into integrating and sensitive about culture, heritage, green buildings, sustainability, and also not to mention they have to be sensitive in terms of collaborations. So if you were to ask me, the future of young architects in the world is something that I foresee. That is, I would want to actually hope to spearhead more effective collaborations within architects. Future architects no longer should be looking at competing with each other,
Mhm.
but we should be looking at the concept of sharing economy.
Mhm.
Yeah, sharing economy meaning that when we have sharing economy, we share equal opportunities, and that creates more job scope, and we create more innovations by sharing our expert skills and knowledge and talent.
Yeah.
This is very important because I see that the young architects now, they have a lot of talents.
Yep.
Yeah, in multi skills in many ways. Just that the only issues is actually the wisdom and knowing the hardship.
Yeah.
So if we can put two together, and we can learn from the seniors, and then we can put our skills to good use,
Yep.
we can do wonders in terms of the future. So this is some of the things that I'm gonna hope so that AR Bisma, the next chairman in 2022, will bring forward in terms of cross-border practice, and also exchange of technology between countries.
I see a lot of program that promote cross-border exchange, and I see that amid the regulatory framework of each country, we still manage to make it happen. One of ACYA event, which is work from home workshop, house competition, has a huge following, and then eventually have a huge amount of work has been submitted from different country. I think 186 submission from Indonesia has won the competition. Why do you think the idea was chosen, as you also as part of the jury can reveal some of the jury citation why such submission from Indonesia has won the competition?
The competition design challenge for the pandemic conscious hope is quite interesting. That happened during the lockdown back in March, April, May, June, July last year. So initially the idea was actually not so much of the competition, what is actually to create hope and belief among the young architects in Asia that they can contribute something to the community where the time is much more, most needed. Yeah? So that's why hence we have a lot of submissions from young architects. I think about 13 countries submitted from all over Asia. And what is so beautiful about the competition was the belief that the young architects would submit and also be involved in this. Behind the scene, I got a lot of message from parents, from families.
That is surprising.
Message me said at that time of need, a lot of the young architects are actually down in morality. So by having this competition, a lot of young architects involved, especially young architects students, they had something to do at home. So the parents thank me and my team and also happy about it. And it's not really about just the product. We don't actually look at the product. We want to build a community for young architects. And it's when you build a community, it's all about empathy. It's all about being together. So from the social aspect. So having said that, the choice of winners for the ACYA was quite interesting in terms of there are top 5 winners from the submission from Malaysia, from Indonesia, from India, from Philippines. All have their own distinct characteristic. Yeah. Like for example, submission for Philippines, which won number 5. They had a very beautiful scheme about creating a pandemic home that is very comfortable and site specific at isolated areas. Unlike the India proposal, which actually creating a house that is self-contained, so that you can enjoy the house within the pandemic and be part together with the family and play around within a centralized courtyard. Malaysian proposal is much more futuristic, thinking about the future, the next 10, 20 years, in terms of design of what would be the ideal prototype housing to accommodate for pandemic or mass produce for housing in the future. While we choose the winner is because it has a very strong characteristic and integration of sustainability in it. It's not only looking into the social, the environmental aspect or the building aspect, because it's designed very simplified and also thinking of conscious design about the human interaction. It also look into the social aspect where how the inhabitants can actually stay at the house and actually have activities and also involved in a lot of interaction with the families, and also common activities in terms of economy, creating urban farming, and then health, exercise embedded into the building. So hence, I think that's why all the judges unanimously chose Indonesia as the winner, because it satisfies what is the criteria that I think what young architects should see in the future. It's not so much about creating beautiful pictures or creating technology buildings, but it's actually about making the architecture relevant to the community and the society. Yeah.
Throughout the years, you are also trying to give value to young architects by training them about all this professionalism and also professional practice and also ethos and ethics through your training company ARN Consulting. Basically, they are actually training provider with regards to development law and areas related to architectural professionalism. And in your experience, you can you share what is the right mindset, you know, to start to unlearn the things that you might get from practice and relearn, you know, through the letter of the law, and you know, try to learn them sincerely and not just to pass the board's examination for professional to be registered as professional architects. What are the
Yes.
right mindset do you think this young architect should have?
I mean, the right mindset is, of course, when you study architecture from university, yeah, for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start working, and then when you acquire enough knowledge, it's good that if you want to pursue yourself to become a qualified architect. Yeah. So the right mindset to me in terms of going through this journey is basically having having yourself to self progress. You know, you want to achieve more than what you have, and then you have motivated to be more. Not to say that when you become qualified architect you should be running your architect's firm, you know, but you can actually, it creates open more doors to other things. The mindset is always be open, and of course uh, for me lifelong learning. So our
Mm-hmm.
life is it's all about if you have that urge to continue pursue lifelong learning, you will learn a lot.
Yeah.
For my trainings with AR Adrianta,
Yeah.
we've set up AR Consulting for the last 10 years. Our target was always to create the new generation of architects that is very critical in terms of and also sensitive about
Mm-hmm.
being part of the community. So hence we don't only actually teach the law,
Yeah.
but we are actually teaching more critical thinking in terms of bringing yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
portraying yourself to the public,
Yeah.
and then also motivating them in terms of there are other things that is you can integrate your architecture and your business in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So in the when you start after you finish in your university, you learn all the skills for becoming an architect, and
Yeah.
then you work in office to get mentorship from your bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, from there, uh, taking part three will prepare yourself to be independent in the future in
Yeah.
terms of facing the reality. Yeah, and the reality is not so easy.
Correct.
But if you are open-minded and go through the reality will be very friendly to you if you are friendly to the reality.
Right.
So like myself, I take it everything is very open. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So architecture is part of the skills and tools.
Right.
For when I use the tools, it becomes friendly. Then you know you can do wonders. I think for example a lot of the young architects now in Malaysia, some are architects by day, dancer
Right.
by night.
Mm-hmm.
Then some are architects and lawyers. Some are BIM specialists. Like
Yeah.
myself, I'm now events specialist. Some are training specialists. You know, you the opposite. Some are academician, businessman. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you know how to bring yourself in the world, and then learn about what is the thematics that you want to explore. And the thing that I can advise is that in our training is that we train you to be punctual and value time.
Yeah.
Time is of the essence. If with time you can do good time management, you can do wonders.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that passion.
Yeah.
Do things that you love, and even if you don't love, do things to the best of your ability. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a part of building this young architects' capacity, you also spearhead World Architect Cup, which involve multiple countries in this particular region, and hosting this international team definitely requires some dedication. And PAM also has a football team, PAM Tiger, that actually, would take your, as you mentioned just now, time, and sometimes even your own money. Okay, on a principle level, how do you decide which initiative is worth my time or worth my effort versus initiative that maybe I can forego this? And how do you define a success of a particular initiative? How do you let's say, gauge how successful is World Architect Cup, for example?
Wow, that's a very tough question, huh? What is me to gauge the success of ACYA activities? But first, I start with in terms of selection and prioritizing of the activities.
Yep, yep.
So, like myself, I have when I do things, I look at the vision. What
Mhm.
is the vision and the objective of the program? And my objective is always very simple. I want to create more as much possibilities platform for the young architects.
Yeah.
So when I see there's a good opportunity for the young architects, so I put my time to it. But then again, putting time to it, it's not so straightforward lah. Meaning that when you have a good team,
Mhm.
the energy is like and you know energy, right?
Yep.
Electrical energy. It's like
Yep. It
it
bounce
moves from one place.
among the,
It
yeah.
repulse. It moves and repulses against it.
Yeah.
So when you have a good team, the energy is more. When
Yeah.
you have a bad team, then it's quite difficult in terms of you have to rethink of how to actually bring the team to a higher level.
Yeah.
So my style is quite simple. If it's a good project, have a good team, we will manage it together and make it a success. Like the Architects Cup is it was not an easy program.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a we developed the football team PAM for many years since
Mhm.
2015 up to we organized it in 2019, 4 years. So we developed a group of people to do the project and to do the football team.
Yeah.
And by developing them, they actually become very good friends,
Right.
very good team. That
Mhm.
team spirit they have is very good. So when I wanted to do this, we had the same mentality that we can do this.
Yeah.
And then delegation of work, who will bring the sponsors, who will manage the project, who will lead the project. And surprisingly, everyone played their role. It's not an
Yeah.
easy task, Quaresmi, to do.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, you need to get the approval or the interest from other countries as well, and
Yes.
they are spending money to come here. I think that's good. You take your own initiative to run a program, but I think there's also a group of young architects that, not necessarily a particular group, but young architects as in general, they always have a lot of suggestion, but they don't actually want to do it themselves. They don't want to take up the responsibility to run the initiative. And sometimes they are too reliant on government agency or even PAM to run something, to run a program, to run a workshop or something, because they think that that is the responsibility or the nature of work of PAM, even though that is not necessarily true. What do you think that we can do to adopt a more independent mindset? I mean, from the Indonesian representative, they also mentioned that the initiative are run by their local, what I call it, community of architects, and they run activities independently from the institute, and basically it benefit by reporting back to the institute of, even though they are running their event independently. Why do you think we are so dependent, and how do we move from that mentality to a slightly more independent initiative like Indonesia?
I mean, because we already have the institute, which is PAM, which is already 100 years.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not a rocket science to why people dependent on the institute, and also
Yeah.
not to say they are dependent because they are already a member, so they expect that the thing is coordinated by the institute lah.
Right.
But like you said just now, some likes to give ideas, some likes to do. That's normal in the society.
Mhm.
But being an architect, the main thing is that we are trained as architects. When we do architecture, we not only draw, but we
Mm.
supervise until complete.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my advice to the young architects, it's simple. Giving ideas is easy. You
Mm.
know, everyone can give ideas.
Right.
Yeah, but the challenge is how to actually align your brain to actually give idea while thinking how to execute it. So when you have that line of movement of thinking,
Yeah.
that is easy to move things because giving big ideas, it's okay to give big ideas which is out of the world,
Right.
but you yourself you need to know how to make it. So by knowing how to make it, so you know how to execute. Like myself, when I have an idea, of
Mhm.
course, sometimes I have small ideas, sometimes I have big ideas. If small ideas is very easy, just I know how to execute it. But big ideas, sometimes I don't really know how to execute it. But I know the right people, my friends or the young architects, who can help me in terms of executing it. Not
Mhm.
to say I will pass everything to them,
Yeah.
but we have engagement discussions of how to make it happen. You know, because everyone have their experience in terms of executing things. So I would suggest to young architects in the future, when you try to create the line of thinking of hybrid thinking of ideas, generations, and execution,
Yeah.
action work plan,
Yeah.
so that when you say something, yeah, ideas, when you give ideas, always do it in parallel with thinking about the execution. That is something different lah. But I think this generation, I have a very strong belief in this generation.
Mhm.
The our generation Gen Y, we are exposed to the apa tu we are exposed to online
Yeah.
from the young age, but the Gen Z is exposed to the online from birth.
Mm.
So the transition will be very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for our generation, Gen Y, the young architects, uh, we have to start planning for the future in terms of working with a different types of community, which is our children, Gen Z,
Yeah.
so that we can actually do things more. It will not be the same as what we are currently facing, because we are interaction between Gen Y and Gen X.
Yeah.
Gen X brought up is different. The way of they running the culture, the business, the social is different. That's because they were trained by the baby boomers, or right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope that the young architects will start to understand this, that there is transition in the community, there was an evolution in the community, and then there is a shift of paradigm shift in thinking process and collaboration and working together in the community.
Yeah.
So I hope that everyone sensitive about this.
Yeah. I think talking about initiative, ACYA has a full whole year calendar this particular year, 2021, and I think upcoming programs such as alumni ACYA alumni talk and also Asia Esport Challenge are coming this year. Can you maybe briefly, uh, explain a bit about what alumni talk is and what is Asia Esport Challenge that we are having this year?
Yes, quite exciting. I presented the calendar for ACYA for this year to the ARCASIA Council. We have a lot of interesting programs, starting with the Instagram challenge program for the young architects and
Yeah.
all public. That is for outreach to the public. Then comes alumni talk. We are talking, focusing on resiliency. So we want to talk about how architects can be resilient in the future. So we have a very interesting three speakers. One is from Korea, JT. Will be talking about designs of the future.
Mhm.
Then AR Gyanendra from India will be talking about practice and how survival. And then the last part is innovations by and adaptability in terms of building technology by AR Star Florentino.
Yeah.
So that's about resiliency, all about resiliency. And then the next one is we are quite excited to have the Esports Center Challenge
Yep.
that will happen somewhere around July or August. Uh, that project is about bringing the trends that is happening overseas in Europe and in America and China, and then bringing technology based buildings to our Asian region.
Yeah.
So I really am quite excited about this challenge to see how the young architect will respond in terms of bringing the hybrid building with the IoT interactions in it.
Yeah. I
At the same time, bringing sustainability in the project.
I think we look forward towards the submission, and I think we also owe some support from PAM Secretariat, and I wish all the future participants all the best. And thank you, Architect Ridha, for that commentary on both initiative. I think that is all that we have this week. Thank you so much. And you can follow Ridha Razak and Rumah Tangsi on Instagram, and please subscribe to QWA YouTube channel. And thank you for joining us. Until the next one. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the session, be sure to subscribe to QWA YouTube channel so you will be notified if a new episode is posted. Thank you for listening. Until next time.